The air hung thick with the kind of mundane tension that often precedes a seismic shift. You know the feeling, that unsettling hum beneath the surface of everyday life, like a distant tremor waiting to erupt. It was one of those moments, a slow motion collision with a truth I had been unconsciously avoiding for years. I had always prided myself on my reliability, my steadfast support, a pillar in the chaotic structure of my family. I believed that my efforts, my sacrifices were seen, appreciated, valued. Well, then, it was a naive assumption, a belief rooted in the desperate need to find meaning in my relentless giving. But life, as it often does, had a brutal way of shattering illusions. It wasn't a dramatic confrontation or a loud argument that unveiled the truth. It was a simple accidental phone call, a slip of technology that peeled back the layers of pretense and revealed the raw, unvarnished reality of my family's perception of me. Imagine, if you will, a life built on a foundation of unwavering support where every resource, every ounce of energy is poured into the well-being of those you love. Then imagine that foundation crumbling beneath your feet, not with a bang, but with a whisper, a clandestine conversation meant for other ears. It was a revelation that left me reeling, a stark reminder that sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who see you the least clearly, who misunderstand your intentions, and ultimately, who fail to respect the very essence of your being. This wasn't just a story, it was a life-altering experience, a journey into the heart of familial betrayal, and it's a narrative I'm compelled to share, not for sympathy, but for understanding, for the shared human experience of navigating the complex terrain of relationships. To truly grasp the gravity of this situation, it's essential to understand the dynamic of my family. For years, I had assumed the role of the provider, the financial anchor that kept our collective ship afloat. It wasn't a role I sought out, but one that gradually became ingrained, a default setting in our familial operating system: rent, utilities, medical bills, unexpected emergencies. I handled it all. It wasn't just about the money, it was about the sense of security, the reassurance that someone was there to catch them when they fell. If a sibling needed help with tuition, I was the first to offer. If my parents faced a financial hurdle, I was the one they called. I was the one they called. It was a pattern, a routine that had become as natural as breathing. There was no resentment, no expectation of reciprocation, just the quiet satisfaction of knowing I was making a difference. I believed that my actions spoke for themselves, that my unwavering support was a testament to my love and commitment. I never hesitated, never questioned the endless stream of requests, because in my mind, that's what family did. We supported each other, we lifted each other up, we were a team. Or so I thought. The reality, as I would soon discover, was far more complex, far more painful. It was a reality that existed beneath the surface, hidden behind polite smiles and grateful words, a reality that would eventually shatter my carefully constructed illusion of familial harmony. The evening in question started like any other. I had returned from a particularly grueling day at work, the kind where every muscle ached and every thought was a dull throb. I sank into my favorite armchair, the worn leather a comforting presence against my tired frame, and closed my eyes, seeking a moment of respite before diving into the endless tasks that awaited me. The phone rang, a jarring intrusion into my brief sanctuary of silence. It was my sister, and I answered without a second thought, expecting the usual request for assistance or a simple catch-up. But as I brought the phone to my ear, I realized she hadn't hung up properly. I could hear voices, muffled and indistinct, but undeniably familiar. My parents, my siblings, all gathered in one place, their voices a low murmur against the backdrop of ambient noise. Initially, I was confused, a flicker of curiosity mixed with a hint of suspicion. Were they planning a surprise? A belated birthday celebration? A gesture of appreciation for my unwavering support? But as the conversation unfolded, my heart began to sink, a heavy weight pulling me down into the depths of disbelief. My mother's voice, usually soft and reassuring, cut through the noise, laced with a sharp edge of resentment. "He thinks he's better than us just because he makes more money," she said, her words a venomous sting. The air in the room seemed to thicken, the silence amplifying the cruelty of her statement. My brother's laughter followed, a harsh, mocking sound that echoed the disdain in her voice. Yeah, and he acts like we should be grateful all the time, as if we owe him something. The words hung in the air, a stark, undeniable indictment of my character. I sat there, frozen, the phone pressed against my ear, the voices a relentless barrage against my fragile sense of reality. Was this really my family? The people I had dedicated my life to supporting, the ones I had sacrificed my own needs for? The same sister whose tuition I had paid for, whose dreams I had helped realize, now spoke with a dismissive contempt that cut deeper than any knife. Honestly, I don't even think he's that smart, she said, her voice dripping with condescension. He just got lucky. And he's so annoying about it. The words were like shards of glass, piercing my heart, shattering the carefully constructed image I had of our familial bond. The weight of their words settled upon me, a crushing burden of betrayal and disillusionment. These weren't the casual barbs of strangers. These were the deeply ingrained resentments of the people I trusted most. The fact that they didn't know I was listening added a layer of brutal honesty to their words. This wasn't a moment of anger or frustration. It was a genuine reflection of their feelings, a glimpse into the hidden corners of their hearts. All those late nights at work, all the missed social events, all the sacrifices I had made to ensure their comfort and well being, they were all reduced to a mere footnote, a source of resentment rather than gratitude. I remembered the countless times I had put their needs before my own, the moments when I had stretched myself thin to accommodate their requests. The time my brother's car broke down, and I had paid for the repairs without hesitation, even though it meant postponing my own much needed vacation. The countless medical bills I had covered for my parents, the unexpected emergencies I had bailed them out of, all done with a sense of duty and love. And this was how they saw me, a pompous, lucky fool who thought he was better than them. It was a stark, painful realization that my efforts were not only unappreciated, but actively resented. The fact that they could speak of me with such disdain, with such a complete lack of empathy, was a testament to the chasm that had grown between us. I wanted to hang up, to sever the connection, to pretend I had never heard their words, but I couldn't. I was trapped, a silent observer in my own betrayal, forced to listen as they dissected my character with ruthless precision. My dad, whose pride I had always sought, whose approval I had always valued, you'd added his own damning assessment. One day he's going to learn, he said, his voice laced with a dark satisfaction. He thinks he's got it all figured out, but let's see where he ends up. The words were a chilling prophecy, a veiled threat that echoed the deep-seated resentment that permeated their conversation. At that moment, I was forced to confront a question that many have faced. How do you reconcile the love you feel for your family with the pain they inflict? How do you maintain your sense of self when the people you trust most betray your trust? Have you ever found yourself in a situation where the people you'd give the world to are the ones who don't even respect you? Have you ever been blindsided by the people you trusted the most? Their words cutting deeper than any physical wound. The experience was a profound betrayal, a shattering of the illusions that had defined my understanding of family. It was a moment of stark realization, a painful acknowledgement that the bonds I had believed were unbreakable were in fact fragile and easily shattered. The questions echoed in my mind, a relentless interrogation of my beliefs, my values, my understanding of relationships. How could I have been so blind? How could I have failed to see the resentment brewing beneath the surface of their gratitude? The answer, I realized, was that I had allowed my desire to be loved and appreciated to cloud my judgment. I had mistaken their dependence for affection, their gratitude for genuine respect. I had poured my heart and soul into their lives, hoping that my actions would speak louder than words, only to discover that my actions were misinterpreted, my intentions misunderstood. The experience was a harsh lesson, a painful reminder that love and respect are not automatic, that they must be earned and nurtured, not assumed. The phone call ended, a sudden silence that felt heavier than any noise. I sat there, the weight of their words pressing down on me, a suffocating blanket of disillusionment. The immediate urge was to confront them, to unleash the torrent of emotions that raged within me, to demand an explanation for their cruel words. But a deeper instinct took hold. a sense of self preservation that whispered a different course of action. I had two choices: a fiery confrontation, a dramatic showdown that would lay bare the raw emotions and fractured relationships, or a calculated, strategic withdrawal, a slow, deliberate unraveling of the dependency they had grown accustomed to. The first option offered the catharsis of immediate release, the satisfaction of voicing my pain and anger. But it also risked further damage, a potential escalation that could permanently sever the already fragile bond. The second option, the long game, offered a different kind of satisfaction, a quiet, controlled assertion of my own worth. It was a choice that required patience, restraint, and a steely resolve to resist the urge to react impulsively. I decided to play the long game. If they didn't appreciate me now, they were about to learn what life was like without me, to understand the true cost of their ingratitude. I would withdraw my support, slowly and deliberately, allowing them to experience the consequences of their actions. This wasn't about revenge, but about self respect, about reclaiming my own autonomy. I had spent years pouring into them, neglecting my own needs in the process. Now it was time to prioritize myself, to rebuild the foundation of my own life, independent of their expectations. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy. It would require a constant vigilance, a resistance to the emotional pull of familial obligation. But I was determined to see it through, to prove to myself and to them that my worth was not defined by their approval or their dependence. This wasn't just a personal betrayal, it was a reflection of a larger societal dynamic, a commentary on the often unspoken power imbalances within families. It spoke to the way we often pour our energy and resources into relationships, hoping to earn love and validation, only to find ourselves taken for granted. It highlighted the insidious nature of dependency, how it can breed resentment and entitlement even among those we love. It was a stark reminder that love and respect are not synonymous, that they are distinct entities that must be cultivated and nurtured. We often confuse the two, assuming that our love entitles us to respect or that our support guarantees appreciation. But the reality is far more nuanced. And it's about how sometimes we're so desperate for love and validation that we don't see when people are just using us. We become enablers, perpetuating a cycle of dependency that ultimately erodes our own sense of self. This story wasn't just about my family. It was about the universal struggle to navigate the complex terrain of relationships, to balance our desire to love and support others with the need to protect our own well being. It was about the difficult but necessary process of setting boundaries, of recognizing our own worth, and of refusing to allow others to define our value. It was a lesson in self preservation, a reminder that sometimes the most loving thing we can do for ourselves is to walk away, to create space for healing and growth. It was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the ability to rise from the ashes of betrayal and rebuild a life on our own terms. The initial days after the phone call were a blur of conflicting emotions. There was anger, a burning resentment that threatened to consume me. There was sadness, a deep ache for the lost illusion of familial harmony. And there was a quiet resolve, a steely determination to follow through with my plan. I began to withdraw, slowly and deliberately, like a surgeon carefully removing a tumor. At first, they didn't notice. The usual requests for assistance continued, the casual assumptions that I would always be there to bail them out. But I began to say no politely but firmly, offering excuses that ranged from financial constraints to prior commitments. The responses were initially met with surprise, a flicker of confusion that quickly morphed into irritation. "Hey, can you help with rent this month?" My brother asked, his voice laced with the usual expectation. "Sorry, I can't," I replied, my voice steady, my resolve unwavering. "You wish I could, but I can't," I said, my heart aching, but my resolve holding firm. One by one, the requests came, and one by one, I declined. The silence that followed each refusal was heavy, pregnant with unspoken questions and simmering resentment. But I held my ground, refusing to waver in my resolve. The most interesting part? They started treating me better. Calling to check on me, offering to help with tasks, acting nicer. But I knew it wasn't real. It was just because they needed something. The facade of affection was transparent, a thinly veiled attempt to manipulate me back into my old role. I saw through their charade, their sudden interest in my well being, a stark contrast to their previous indifference. The change in their behavior was a testament to their dependence, a confirmation of the power I held in their lives. It was a subtle but significant shift, a validation of my decision to withdraw. The power dynamic was changing, and they were beginning to feel the consequences of their actions. The suspense grew with each passing day, each declined request, each forced interaction. I was playing a dangerous game, walking a tightrope between asserting my independence and risking the complete alienation of my family. And then finally, my sister confronted me. The tension had been building, a palpable undercurrent in our interactions, and she could no longer contain her curiosity. "And why are you acting different?" she asked, her voice laced with a mixture of confusion and accusation. I looked at her, my gaze steady, my expression unreadable. "I heard the phone call," I said, my voice low but clear. Silence descended, a heavy, suffocating silence that filled the room. Her face went pale, the color draining from her cheeks, leaving her looking ashen and vulnerable. She stuttered, trying to find words, trying to construct a narrative that would salvage the situation, trying to fix what had already been irrevocably broken. But it was too late. The truth had been spoken, the veil had been lifted, and the damage had been done. I had already learned the truth, the raw, unvarnished truth about their perception of me. Her attempts to backtrack, to explain away their words, were futile. They rang hollow, empty echoes of a sincerity that no longer existed. The dramatic shift in the atmosphere was palpable, the unspoken accusations hanging in the air like a thick fog. The confrontation was a turning point, a moment of reckoning that forced us to confront the reality of our fractured relationships. It was a moment of stark honesty, a painful acknowledgement of the chasm that had grown between us. The tension was thick, the silence broken only by the sound of our ragged breaths. The air crackled with unspoken emotions, with the weight of years of unspoken resentments and unacknowledged pain. So what do you do when you realize your own family doesn't respect you? Do you keep giving, hoping they'll appreciate you someday? Do you continue to pour your heart and soul into relationships that offer nothing in return? Or do you finally put yourself first, prioritizing your own well-being and happiness? The answer, I discovered, is not always clear-cut. There are no easy solutions, no simple formulas for navigating the complex terrain of familial relationships. Here's what I learned: you don't owe anyone your peace. You don't have to sacrifice your happiness for people who wouldn't do the same for you. And sometimes, walking away isn't just an option. It's the only way to truly be free. It's about recognizing your own worth, about setting boundaries, and about refusing to allow others to define your value. It's about reclaiming your autonomy, about building a life on your own terms. It's about understanding that self-preservation is not selfish. It's essential. The experience was a painful but necessary lesson, a journey into the heart of familial betrayal, and a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. It was a reminder that love and respect are not automatic, that they must be earned and nurtured. It was a call to self-awareness, an invitation to examine our own relationships and to question the assumptions that guide our interactions. What would you have done in my place? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you've ever been in a situation like this, just know you're not alone. Your experiences are valid, your feelings are real, and your journey is your own. If you found this story eye-opening, make sure to like and subscribe for more real-life stories that make you think. Until next time, take care of yourself first. The journey of self-discovery is often painful, but it is also transformative. It is a process of shedding old skins, of letting go of illusions, and of embracing the truth about ourselves and our relationships. It is a journey that requires courage, resilience, and a willingness to confront the uncomfortable truths that lie beneath the surface. It is a journey that is ultimately worth it, for it leads to a deeper understanding of ourselves and a greater sense of peace. The lessons I learned from this experience were not easily won, but they were invaluable. They taught me the importance of self-respect, the necessity of setting boundaries, and the power of walking away from toxic relationships. They taught me that my worth is not defined by the approval of others, that my happiness is not contingent on their validation. And most importantly, they taught me that I am capable of building a life that is fulfilling and meaningful, independent of the expectations and demands of others. The process of rebuilding was not instantaneous. It was a gradual, painstaking effort, a slow and deliberate reclaiming of my own autonomy. And there were moments of doubt, moments when the pull of old habits and familial obligations threatened to derail my progress. But I persisted, fueled by a newfound sense of self-worth and a determination to create a life that was truly my own. I began to prioritize my own needs, to invest in my own well-being, and to cultivate relationships that were based on mutual respect and genuine affection. I learned to say no without guilt, to set boundaries without apology, and to walk away from situations that threatened my peace. I discovered the joy of solitude, the power of self-reliance, and the beauty of authentic connection. I found a sense of purpose beyond the role of provider, a sense of identity that was not defined by the expectations of others. The journey was not without its challenges. There were moments of loneliness, moments when the absence of familiar voices and the silence of empty rooms felt deafening. There were moments of doubt, moments when I questioned my decisions and wondered if I had made the right choices. But through it all, I held on to the belief that I was on the right path, that I was building a life that was true to myself. And as time passed, the loneliness faded, the doubt subsided, and a sense of peace settled within me. I discovered a newfound appreciation for the simple joys of life, for the quiet moments of solitude, and for the authentic connections that enriched my soul. I learned to appreciate the beauty of my own company, to find solace in my own thoughts, and to cultivate a sense of inner peace that was independent of external validation. I learned to trust my own instincts, to follow my own path, and to create a life that was aligned with my values and aspirations. The experience was a crucible, a trial by fire that forged a stronger, more resilient version of myself. It was a journey of self-discovery, a process of shedding old skins and embracing a new identity. It was a testament to the power of the human spirit, the ability to rise from the ashes of betrayal and create a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling. And as I look back on that chapter of my life, I do not dwell on the pain or the betrayal. Instead, I focus on the lessons learned, the growth achieved, and the strength discovered. I am grateful for the experience, for it taught me the true meaning of self-respect, the importance of setting boundaries, and the power of walking away from toxic relationships. It taught me that my worth is not defined by the approval of others, that my happiness is not contingent on their validation. And most importantly, it taught me that I am capable of building a life that is truly my own, a life that is filled with purpose, joy, and authentic connection. And to anyone who finds themselves in a similar situation, I offer this advice. Trust your instincts, listen to your inner voice, prioritize your own well-being, set boundaries, and never ever forget your own worth. You are not alone. Your experiences are valid, your feelings are real, and your journey is your own. And while the path ahead may be challenging, it is also filled with the potential for growth, healing, and self-discovery. Embrace the journey, trust the process, and never give up on yourself. For within you lies the strength to create a life that is truly your own, a life that is filled with purpose, joy, and authentic connection. And remember, the journey is ongoing. There will be moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments when the pull of old habits and familiar patterns threatens to derail your progress. But in those moments, remember the lessons you have learned, the strength you have discovered, and the resilience you have cultivated. Remember that you are capable of building a life that is truly your own, a life that is filled with purpose, joy, and authentic connection. And remember, you are not alone. There are others who have walked this path before you, others who understand the pain of betrayal, the struggle of self-discovery, and the triumph of self-reliance. Seek out those connections, find solace in shared experiences, and draw strength from the collective wisdom of those who have overcome similar challenges. And most importantly, remember to be kind to yourself. Be patient, be compassionate, and allow yourself the time and space to heal. Celebrate your progress, acknowledge your challenges, and embrace the journey of self-discovery with grace and resilience. For within you lies the strength to create a life that is truly your own, a life that is filled with purpose, joy, and authentic connection. And as you continue on your journey, remember that you are not defined by your past, nor are you limited by your present circumstances. You are a work in progress, a masterpiece in the making, a testament to the power of the human spirit. And as you continue to grow, to learn, and to evolve, remember to embrace the beauty of your own unique journey, to celebrate the strength of your own resilience, and to cultivate a life that is truly your own. And always, always remember to take care of yourself first.